Hey everyone, Josh here with a look at another Star Wars toy, and today we're going to unbox a Black Series 3 3/4 inch Han Solo from The Force Awakens. So let's go cut this guy loose, come on. Alright guys, here we are with a 3 3/4 inch Star Wars The Black Series Han Solo figure, and this figure is from the Force Awakens movie. This is of course older, wiser Han Solo. And we are going to unbox this figure today, but before we get there, let me quickly show you guys the packaging. And of course, on the back here, we have a nice little figure description of Han Solo from The Force Awakens. And you can kind of see it, there's a little ghosted image of him, or it's more of a drawing on the package. But let me read the description to you guys real quick. Han Solo. Though Han Solo has seen much in his long checkered career, nothing compares to the abominable threat of the First Order's latest weapon. In a foolhardy mission to save the galaxy, Solo races to the heavily fortified Starkiller base. And of course they're talking there about his assault on Starkiller base at the end of The Force Awakens. So let's let him out of here and check out Han Solo. So that's one of the things these Black Series figures are known for. If you don't know much about them, they are more higher end figures. They're the better figures that you can buy in the collecting universe, and one of the things they're known for is they have a lot of articulation on these figures, and we'll run through that here. But if you weren't familiar, that's the main thing on these Black Series figures. They're just very high quality figures, and they have a lot of articulation. So if you're trying to decide on what kind of figure to collect, that's what you're looking at when you look at a Black Series. So one thing I'm liking already is I can see the coat. Oh, I actually thought it was a removable coat, but I take that back. It is not a removable coat. And so, but one of the things I do like what I'm seeing already is a holster, and you can see they parted the coat a little bit so you have access to it. And of course Han Solo has his famous blaster, and you can see how well he holds it, and you can see how it's mates up with the figure very well. And let me see here, and that's one of the things I really appreciate about these Black Series figures is this is what I'm talking about, how there's a lot more detail in these figures. So if you look here, you can see how he actually has a trigger finger out. And if you look at the blaster, you can see here, there's actually a trigger guard on the gun. And when you actually put the gun in his hand, and just to show you the difference, if you look at his other hand, you can see how there is not a trigger finger out. And so obviously the gun is meant to go in this hand, and when you put it in there, you can see how it might be a little bit difficult to see, but if you look at the trigger guard, you can see his finger is actually in there, and that's the kind of attention to detail I really appreciate. I really am glad that Hasbro's putting that much attention into these figures. And so let's check out how this holster works before we go any further. And it looks like it's a bit of a tight fit, but it is in there. Kind of seems like it's not seating all the way, but it's in there. It's not going to come out. It's not just flopping around on you. So that's good. All right, so let's check out Han Solo's movements. And again, some of these figures, when you're just depending on who you buy, depending on the way they're dressed, sometimes you might get restrictions on their movement. So an example of this is his hood. So this hood is in that position. It doesn't come off, it doesn't go up or doesn't go down. But because of that, you're going to get, and also the collar. Whoops, I'm dropping Han Solo here. And also the collar, you can see his jacket has a very high collar, and so that restricts his movements. And so you can spin his head all the way around. It looks like, yeah, you can. But as you can see, he's like, the chin is rubbing on the collar there. So really, you're only getting about that much movement out of him before you get some kind of, the chin starts hitting the collar. But you also have, let's see, a little up and down. And I'm very impressed with the face sculpt on this thing. It looks very much like Harrison Ford, or older Harrison Ford. Although, I gotta say, I think they got the hair color off a little bit. There needs to be a little bit more gray in there. So, okay, so looking at his shoulders here, you should have a lot of articulation on this as well. So you have a shoulder rotation. You also have up and down at the shoulder. And then at his elbow here, you should have a rotation and up and down movement. So you can, 2 points of articulation at the elbow, and then the same thing with the wrist. It rotates, and then you also have up and down. It's not a lot, but you can see that the hand moves up and down. Very cool. And then let's see here. Can we? Oh wow, they actually have a gun belt on him, and it's not molded to him. It actually looks like it's loose, or that you can remove it, but it's not molded to the figure. It's a loose belt. They might have it glued on there, which is... Oh, they don't. It feels like it's moving here. Okay, it's got a little movement to it, but you're not going to get this belt off because the jacket does not come off. I would like it if you could remove the jacket on this figure. But as you can see, the arms of the jacket are molded to the figure, where the jacket, the torso part of it, is actually a little bit loose. But there's no opening in the front, and at least it doesn't appear to open to me. And so there's absolutely no way to get this jacket off of him. And even if you did remove it, he would still have the sleeves on. So that's unfortunate. But let's see here. Does he have waist? So he does have a little bit of waist movement, but you're restricted due to the jacket. And then you can see you start knocking the gun out of his holster if you do that. So let's not. Okay, put his gun back in there. And so then looking at the rest of his legs, he does have hip articulation. You can see you can rotate his leg all the way around. And you have a little bit of back and forth movement, but again, the jacket is restricting that. And then looking at his knee here, you have knee rotation and knee up and down. And it's going to be the same thing as ankles. You're going to have an up and down movement and a rotation. So lots of articulation on these figures, so that's a good thing. All right, and then real quick, before we are finished with Han here, I just want to see if he can hold the blaster in his other hand, and not really. You can see it's loose, it's flopping around. It's not really meant to do that. So again, as I was pointing out about the trigger finger, oops, there we go. You can see how much better that looks, and of course it's staying in there, but it's very cool. All right, everyone, there he is. This is your 3 3/4 inch Black Series Han Solo from The Force Awakens. And thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. And if you're enjoying the content and you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. And we'll appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.